Hi guys, welcome back to SwitchUp and a massive thanks to Jace Glove for this review. The Disgaea series of games requires little introduction. The first title was originally released in 2003 on the PlayStation 2, and since then 5 others have followed across 8 platforms. Most recently, Disgaea 5 was released on Nintendo Switch, and now the series is celebrating its 15th anniversary by re-releasing a definitive edition of the game that started it all. Does Disgaea 1 Complete hold up after all these years? Let's find out.
I am very aggravated by this.
In the first of the Disgaea series, you play as Lahal, heir to the throne of the Netherworld. Lahal has been asleep for 2 years, and in that time his father, the king, passed away. In his absence, the realm has gone to pot, and lesser demons from all over vying for the throne. And of course, Lahal has no intentions of giving up without a fight, so you and your companions set out to crush the usurper demons and claim your birthright.
Someone, get in here, now! Why are you yelling?
Now the story, much like the art style, is reminiscent of many good animes, and I enjoyed it a good deal. It's not the most unique by any means, but there's enough here to give you a reason to keep playing, and the high quality of humour thrown in helps keep things interesting and enjoyable. For me, story scores 16 out of 20. The Disgaea series of games are strategy RPGs, and if you've never played one, the first thing you should know is the name just as easily could have been Grind, Grind, Grind. This is not a title where you can easily jump from level to level until you've reached the end of the story. Quite the contrary. You'll spend hours upon hours playing some of the same levels again and again, collecting money, experience and items to gain the necessary power to progress. Just to put it into perspective, the main story should take roughly 40 hours to complete the first time through, but I have heard of people putting well over 500 hours into this game trying to fully level characters. Normally this would sound like a complete drag, but there's a reason people can keep up that level of dedication. The gameplay is fun. The game offers deep complexity, making every battle rewarding and interesting. In the early game you only have a couple of characters and weapon options, but it doesn't take long before you are introduced to the Dark Assembly. This feature allows you to create any number of new characters of various classes such as Mage, Brawler or Fighter, with many more unlocked as you progress through the game. Each class has unique abilities and weapon affinities, and you are allowed to use up to 10 characters per level, giving you near infinite options for building your playstyle. To progress through the main story, levels are chosen via a dimensional portal that will transport you to each zone. Once there, you select the portal square to bring up a full list of your available characters, and selecting one will bring them into the level. From here you can perform a number of actions, including moving to a new location, attacking an enemy with a standard or special attack, using an item, or lifting and throwing an enemy or ally. An interesting and unique feature of the game is the way that you can abuse movement to create multiple attack combos. Combo attacks are triggered from time to time when the attacking character has allies on directly adjacent squares. These attacks are powerful and you'll want to trigger them as often as possible. This is made easier by the way movement works. As long as you do not perform any other action, you can move one of your characters next to the attacker, trigger the attack, and then move the former character to the original position. This adds so much strategic depth throughout, and how and when you perform the actions makes a difference and forces you to think out many moves in advance, much like chess. There are a number of other facets to the game that I won't go into for the purposes of this review, but each one adds another layer of complexity and strategy to the battles. Now, if you get tired of playing the same story levels for experience, there is another feature unique to the Disgaea series called the Item World. In this world, you are actually inside a chosen item, and you will clear randomly generated levels for as long as you can survive in order to increase the item's power level. This is without a doubt the most interesting way to grind experience, because you will be playing new layouts each time, with the added benefit of increasing the usefulness of those items. Now, as for the controls, they're simple enough. The left joystick or D-pad moves the cursor around the level or between options in menus. The A button will open a selected character's action menu as well as confirm your choices, while the B button allows you to back out of menus or reverse a chosen action if you've not committed to it. X brings up a specific option list where you can execute attacks or end your turn, among others. The L and R bumpers will rotate the camera between one of 4 set angles. ZL will zoom in and out, and ZR allows you to quickly rotate between active allies. The control scheme makes sense and it's perfectly functional. Having said this, I do have some minor gripes regarding quality of life improvements that I feel are missing from this remastered version. Firstly, many levels have platforms of varying heights, and there are times that parts of the world cannot be seen whatsoever due to being limited to only 2 levels of zoom and 4 camera angles. Simply adding a bird's eye overhead view would have alleviated this problem. Another is the battle animations, which can sometimes be very long. They are flashy and fun to watch for the most part, but once you've seen them a few times it would be nice to be able to skip them mid-battle. There is an option to turn battle effects completely off, but I would have preferred the ability to press a button during the animation to skip it when I chose to. The last of my complaints is that there are too many steps needed to move a character who hasn't committed to an action. Cancelling a character's movement to take advantage of combo attacks can be cumbersome, as I have to reverse the original move before I can choose a new location. The whole process could have been made easier by allowing me to move them to the new placement directly from the original spot. Aside from some small issues, gameplay overall is great, and it receives 17 out of 20. Now, as mentioned, the story segments opt for an anime style presentation complete with crazy hair and over-exaggerated facial expressions. Now, personally, I love anime and enjoy the cutscenes, and especially nice touch are the sprites in the background changing expressions based on the dialogue to match the large size versions of the character. Speaking of sprites, they look great. It's obvious that a good deal of effort and care has been taken to enhance the graphics throughout this remastered version. Attack animations look good and fluid, and typical of this art style of game, they become increasingly flashy as you unlock stronger moves. One weak point of the visuals are the geosquares, which I haven't mentioned before now. These are zones on some levels that provide any number of buffs or debuffs, and are shown as flashing colours overlaying the landscape. Sometimes there will be many colours used in the same level, and maybe it's just a product of my eyesight getting worse, but it can be difficult to differentiate between them. Additionally, while the character and animations are great, the visual presentation of the levels themselves can start to feel the same even when playing in the randomly generated item world. Overall, the developer has done a good job bringing the game up to date, and the visuals receive 15 out of 20. The full soundtrack in Disgaea 1 is over 3 hours long and is quite good. The songs are befitting of the demonic Neverworld theme and make me think of Halloween spooky castles or Transylvania. At times it even made me think of Super Mario RPG on the SNES with an old school 16-bit feel. I never got tired of the music playing in the background or wanted to turn it off, which says a lot in a game that requires hours of grinding. All story points are voice acted, or I believe are supposed to be. I ran into a couple of scenes where the dialogue was not voiced, but it happened rarely enough that I think it may have been a bug. The acting is well done, however the main characters are essentially children, and I think some people may be annoyed with the high-pitched screechy voices. I have 2 boys, aged 5 and 2, who never stop screaming, so I have not been bothered by it. But there was a time in my life I might have been put off, especially by the character Flon.
This is either, which means... Oh...
Who are you? And why are you in my room talking to yourself?
Ah!
Here I come!
As for sound effects, They are adequate, but nothing astonishing. Some are better than others, but if there was a part of the audio I wouldn't miss if I turned it off, it's definitely going to be the sound effects. There's a lot of navigating menus during battles, and every movement through them prompts a dinging sound that can become grating. Sound overall though is good and receives 15 out of 20. The definitive edition of Disgaea 1 boasts updated graphics and some quality of life improvements, but at the AAA cost of $49.99, there's no denying the sheer quantity of gameplay to be had for someone who loves the genre, as hundreds of hours can easily disappear, but I can't help but feel the price is just too high. Fans of the series likely already own Disgaea 5 on the Switch, which added many improvements to the battle system, and stepping back in time may not appeal at this price. I think the developers would benefit from offering a package discount deal for purchasing both titles. For fans of strategy RPGs who are new to the series, the original is better than ever and well worth a look even at this asking price. It helps too that the Switch is the perfect place for this kind of game, as it can be easily digested in short bursts while on the go. Value scores 15 out of 20. So in summary, Disgaea 1 Complete is a wonderful remaster of the original that started it all, offering endless hours of deep complex strategy RPG gameplay surrounding an entertaining story. Fans of the genre who are newcomers to the series should definitely take a look and find out for themselves what the Disgaea hype is all about. Veterans of the series, however, might be better served waiting for a sale before they revisit its roots, especially if they've recently played the latest title. Disgaea 1 Complete receives an overall SwitchUp score of 78%. Thank you so much to Jace Glover, he is a hero. He'll be answering all your comments down below. Please be sure to show him some love as always from the SwitchUp family. And for all things Switch all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, you know what's coming. See ya!